one thing about Rebels is we are doing things safely. We are not throwing things in a glass jar and manually vacuum sealing them without sterilizing the entire contents of the jar beforehand. I am so glad you asked this question. Linny asked me if she could use one of those TikTok canners to can leftovers. And it's very important as someone educating people on canning to ask very specific questions. You want to make sure you understand what they're asking and they understand what you're telling them. So when I said, what type of canner are you talking about? She says one of those ones that sits on top of the jars and vacuum seals from TikTok. This is a mason jar vacuum sealer. It's electronic. You sit it on top of the jar with a lid on it, and it vacuum seals the air out of the jar. What it doesn't do is sterilize the contents of the jar. You also may be familiar with my favorite vacuum sealer for jars. It's from 4Jars. Again, you would put a lid on here. You would have dried goods inside the jar. So, dried nuts, dried herbs, freeze-dried food, dehydrated food, fruit roll-ups, things that no longer contain moisture, or at least not a lot of moisture, like leftovers would. The only difference between these two is this one's electric. You push a button, it does everything for you. This one is manual. You pump the air out of the jar yourself. I actually prefer this one, and it is linked in my bio if y'all are interested. But on the other hand, the reason I asked that specific question is because I wasn't sure if she was talking about pressure canning, water bath, etc. And the fact that she was talking about vacuum sealing is very important, because no, you cannot can your food with this. This is not canning. This is removing air from the jar, sealing the jar, and that's it. It does make stuff more shelf stable, but only things that are already dry. So they're essentially shelf stable for a short period of time without refrigeration anyway. You can your leftovers. You would just have to put them through the sterilization process or the canning process, which will sterilize the contents of the jar itself, the lid, the ring. They'll all be sterilized. And then in the end of the canning process, when you remove them from the jars will seal on their own. It's a natural part of the process, as opposed to manually sealing it with this. And depending if you are a rebel or not, you would water bathe everything, or you can pressure can it. 100% up to you. Let me know if y'all have any more questions, and as always, happy canning.